City facing Chelsea in the second all-English final in 3 seasons. Will it be Pep Guardiola's Premier League champions lifting the cup for the very first time, or can Thomas Tuchel's Blues emulate the class of 2012?
I have the feeling to come here.
A lifelong dream.
Football and an English team will lift European football's biggest prize for the 14th time this weekend. Will it be Manchester City or Chelsea? Join Gary Lineker, Rio Ferdinand, Joe Cole and Jolyon Lescott from 6 o'clock tomorrow evening for all the build-up, live from Porto's Estadio do Dragão. And the two teams look determined and as they look to win the one trophy they've never held. And Chelsea, who are on a bad run of form but have had City's number in recent weeks. Thomas Tuchel, a beaten finalist with PSG last season, will be keen to erase those memories, and he looked calm and ready to enjoy the occasion. And I can't look ahead to the final all by myself, so I've brought a few friends along to help me out. I'm delighted to have Michael Owen, Shaun Wright-Phillips, Gianfranco Zola and Owen Hargreaves with me. Owen, another all-English final. What does that say about the quality and the competitiveness of the Premier League?
Yeah, the quality of the Premier League is at a high, but I think the managers, we have some of the best managers in the game because our product is so good. Obviously, the finances don't hurt, Lindsay, with the TV money being bigger than any of the other teams in leagues in Europe. But I think the big thing that stands out is the managers. We've got some of the greatest managers in the world of football. Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola, Thomas Tuchel has come over. So I think that has probably been one of the biggest things, of the fact that we've got great players, maybe not the top 5 players in the world, but we've got great depth. But the managers, I think, are improving the team significantly.
And for City, Shaun, it's the one trophy missing from the cabinet. Does that put a lot of the pressure on them?
No, I don't think so, personally. I think, for me, it's a cup final, and cup finals is a one-off game, and it's something that both teams will be up for it. Both teams will feel under pressure, for me, of winning it. I think there will be belief in the crowd and the fans to know that it's taken them 51 years to get back here again. So they will be expecting and hoping that it ends today. But in general, I think it's whoever plays the best on the day wins the game.
Are City your favourites?
Yeah, I do love my Chelsea, but City is my team.
And Gianfranco, Chelsea were flying under Thomas Tuchel, but sort of limped to the end of the season, losing 3 of their last 4. How concerning is that form?
Well, I had an interview from Tuchel saying, yeah, it is a concern because you never want to lose game, but at the same time, it's also understandable. They're about to play one of the most important games in the whole season, and probably a little bit of concentration slipped, lacked a little bit. Also a little bit of tiredness, but I think tomorrow is going to be a different story, and everything will be forgotten and they will be at their best.
Was it a bit of a worry, though, sort of seeing with Manchester United that you can't sort of switch that form on and off?
Yeah, it could be, but again, as I said, I think tomorrow is going to be a different story. Every player will be transformed. Everyone will be given the best. The point will be, who's going to be able to provide, to be the best. So, but I have no question, both teams, they will be up for it.
And Michael, despite losing the last game, they did still qualify for the Champions League via the league, Chelsea. Does that take a lot of the pressure off that game tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it does. It's got to play on the back of your mind. If you've not already qualified for the Champions League for next season, then all of a sudden it doubles the pressure. So that's, parked to one side now. So Chelsea will be delighted about that. They stumbled over the line in the end, but the form leading up to that was outstanding. And Thomas Tuchel has certainly rectified a lot of the problems at the back since he's been in charge. They look a confident team. They've certainly got a lot of great players. And this has been in the back of their minds, as the lads have said, for some weeks now. You can't not think about it. It's the biggest club game in the world. Both teams will be sharp, both teams will be ready, and it should be a brilliant game.
And twice in the last 6 weeks, Owen, Chelsea have beaten Manchester City, once in the FA Cup semi-final, once in the league. But when City were quite heavily rotated, how much do you read into those 2 results?
I'm with Gianfranco. I'm not sure you can read too much into, obviously those games are significant, but and Chelsea have the players. Look, if you get in bad positions, they can hurt you. And we see Timo Werner getting into those pockets there. But I think for I think for Pep, he probably didn't want to overplay his hand maybe in terms of what he was going to do in this game. But I think Thomas Tuchel, that's been the big thing. You know, defensively, as Michael mentioned, they play the 3 with wing-backs and 2 in front. And when they're clinical at the top of the pitch, then they are incredibly dangerous and they can even beat the best team in the Premier League. So if they play like that, it's difficult for Manchester City. But I think whoever controls possession will come out on top.
What do you think was key, Gianfranco, in Chelsea getting the better of City?
Well, I was, curiously, having a look to some of the stats, and I've seen that City is dominant the majority of the time in all the stats against the opposition. And one stat in particular, they are very dominant. And there is how many balls they can get from the opposition. And they normally win all these confrontations, apart from one team, which is Chelsea, that has better stats against them in getting the ball back. And I think that is the reason why City players don't like to play Chelsea right now, because they work so hard to get in the ball, and this is... Guardiola's teams, Pep's team, don't like not to have the ball. They want to have the ball and have control of the game. And with Chelsea, they struggle a little bit. Yeah,
Ferran Torres said they were a pain in the neck at Chelsea to play again. Well, Pep going into the game as well did not have any injury worries before the game. However, there was a concern at the end of the final training session. We saw İlkay Gündoğan limping off at the end there after a bit of a clash with Fernandinho. He, of course, has been such a key player for them this season, so Pep did not look very happy about that incident there, and he'll be hoping it's not serious enough to keep him out of the game tomorrow evening. Well, we've got plenty to look forward to over the next hour or so as we count down to the second All-England now. And, guys, I should start by saying that the weather has got a lot better here, so don't rub it in too much.
Hello, Linz. How are you? Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys. Looking good over there. Joe, what does it mean for Chelsea and the fans to be back in a Champions League final for the first time in 9 years?
I don't believe the club expected it this season. It's been a transitional period. Obviously, when Frank took over the job, he had the transfer ban and losing Eden Hazard. I just thought the club expected a little bit of a time before they got up to this level again. But Tuchel's done such a great job, and the players have responded, and they're here. And you're speaking to the fans in the street, they're just delighted to be here, Linz, and they didn't expect it this soon under this regime. But it's fantastic.
And Joleon, you were part of the City team that first reached the Champions League back in 2011. Did you think it was going to take this long for them to reach a final?
Yeah, you could say this long, but you could look at how far the club's come in that time for the last number of years. They've been one of the favourites to win the competition, and you have no divine right to win this competition. So, yeah, it's probably took longer than everyone else expected, but having spoken to the hierarchy at the club, they believe they're in the right place at the right time, and hopefully they can get the job done tomorrow.
And Joe, you, of course, know what it's like to play in an all-English final after 2008. Did it make it even harder losing to another Premier League side?
Linz, I've had a horrible week. They keep getting me to talk about this all the time.
Sorry.
It's been disastrous. But even though I was with Owen on Thursday and we had a chat about it. No. Do you know what? It was a horrible night because, not just because of the result, because the intensity of the game and losing to your friends, and then we had to meet up with England 3 days after. It was difficult. Well, I said to Rio, I thought the lads who met up with England afterwards were really good. They got that we was so devastated for losing, and I think it was so they was really good with us. And then we move on. And one thing, when I spoke to Mason Mount earlier, I said, listen, you just don't know whether this is going to be the first, the last, or how many Champions League finals. When I was in 2008, I thought this would be regular, and I never got there again, and it was the trophy that eluded me. So the intensity of this game will be even more considering how well they know each other. So it'll be difficult for them.
Joe, if only they hadn't subbed you off for Anelka.
Oh, Linz, bottom left corner it was going. Don't worry about that.
Sorry, we won't make you talk about it anymore, we promise. Joleon, what would it mean for City, though, to lift their first Champions League?
Yeah, everything, like you said, when we first got into the competition in 2011, we were the team that everyone wanted to face, and now they're the team that everyone wants to avoid. So in regards to what this means to the fans, the players, the club, yes, the manager's been brought in and hopefully he's the guy that can get it over the line, but the club's come so far in a short space of time. It's a huge honour, and it will be the pinnacle, the final piece to the jigsaw.
It would. Guys, lovely to talk to both of you. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Enjoy the Portal nightlife tonight as well.
Cheers, guys. Have a good time.
Cheers, Goal.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Nice suit, Sean.
Right. After the break, we'll be focusing our attention on the club who were playing in a Division 2 playoff final 22 years ago this week, but are now on the verge of winning the Champions League for the very first time.
Don't change nothing, because what we have done so far to be here in the final, it was amazing, it was spectacular. So I think we just need to keep going the same way, playing the same football, with the confidence we have. And I think this is going to be the key for the final tomorrow.
Is today the toughest day? You know, we're just waiting for the game to happen.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Toughest day will be 1 hour before the start of the game in the locker room, waiting to start. You can still not. Some thoughts. That is the worst moment when the players are warming up and you cannot do anything. But today is completely the opposite. Like yesterday night and dinner together. It's wow, 61 games to be here. It's quite remarkable. And no, absolutely not. Just enjoy the moment.
The pressure will be there, obviously, and for some it's more than other people. But I think we had a great season and we can make it extra special. So let's just hope we play a good game.
Champions League final when Barcelona beat Manchester United. Sean, he's won everything that there is to win with City. 10 trophies if you include the Community Shields. It is the one thing missing, as Jolien said. That would be the final bit of the jigsaw, wouldn't it?
Most definitely, but we've also got to remember it's possibly the hardest competition in football to today, and I feel like at times you need a bit of luck. In the past competitions, they've had VAR go against them or errors in defensive leading to goals, which have been crucial, and they've been knocked out for it. But this year, I think the errors are gone. They've conceded 4 goals in the whole tournament, and the same as Chelsea. Chelsea's done fantastic. They've only conceded 4 goals, and for me, the best 2 teams in the tournament this year are in the finals.
Is it that defence, Michael, that Sean's talking about for Manchester City in particular, that could be the thing that finally gets them over the line this season?
Well, there's no question about it. Pep Guardiola this season has changed things, and the defence is a huge part of that evolution. We all know that Pep Guardiola used to think that his team were a bit like a basketball team for the last couple of seasons. He wanted to end that. He wanted to be more control of possession. And we look at the stats there. You know, it just goes to show what the likes of Diaz, Stones as resurgence is formed, but in particular that man who I've just mentioned. Diaz has been an unbelievable signing. Yes, he cost a lot of money, but you've already got your money's worth. He's young, he's a leader. You know, he tackles, he blocks. I mean, this performance was quite staggering. It was like he was a magnet to the ball. Everything came to him, and he looks like he really enjoys defending as well. I mean, you get these players from time to time that absolutely love getting a ball in their face. Not many people, I certainly didn't, but it looks like he does, and he reads the game well, he's good on the ball, but he's just an out-and-out brilliant defender.
Gianfranco, has he been their best and most important player this season, do you think?
Absolutely. I think, you know, we know how good the Pep's teams are going forward, but this season the transformation has been there. They've been so good defensively, and I think one of the reasons is Ruben Diaz. I see his position, his body position when he's defending. He's got really the defender's position. He's always on the toes, very, very, very careful, always looking for good positions. He's been certainly very influential also for the other defender who's got better and better, more trust and more cover. So I believe he's been very, very influential.